Welcome back, everyone. We'd like to express our sincere gratitude to all participants for joining us for this session. For our next plenary session, we focus on the fact that transportation systems play a central role in shaping environmental sustainability, social equity, and community well-being. This session invites a global expert speaker to explore practical, interdisciplinary, and evidence-based approaches to advance climate resilience and equitable transportation solutions.
This session will be moderated by Professor Kyung-Soo Park from Yonsei University, and we are especially honored to welcome President Marcia Anderson-Bomar of ASCE as our keynote speaker. Please welcome the speakers, and Professor Park, the stage is yours.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kyung-Soo Park. It is my great pleasure to moderate this session. This session's presenter is a civil engineer. Civil engineer plans and build and maintain our community. We are truly honored to have with us Ms. Marcia Anderson-Bomar, the president of ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers. President Bomar has held various leadership roles, including interim commissioner of Atlanta Department of Transportation, and founder and president of Street Smart Inc., and serving as council member and mayor pro tempore of City of Duluth, Georgia. Her contribution has been recognized through prestigious awards, and she also featured as Extraordinary Women Engineer in ASCE publication and one of the top 100 influential women in Georgia. In terms of academic background, Marcia earned a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Master's in Transportation Planning and Engineering from Polytechnic Institute of Brooklyn. She also holds a master's degree in Civil Engineering from Princeton University and her PhD from the University of Georgia. As a very prolific scholar who has authored hundreds of publications, she is a truly visionary who has paved the way for future generations of engineers. Today, she will share her insight on emerging technology and global solidarity to achieve SDGs. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to President Marcia Anderson-Bomar.
Good afternoon. I am so honored to be here. It is such a privilege to be with such distinguished speakers and honored guests, but I will tell you, my heart is with the students. I am truly so excited to have the chance to share a little bit of information with you today and hopefully have some more dialogue. I did want to say that I was listening very closely this morning, and the topics that were discussed were so important, but I only heard the word engineering one time the entire morning. So I'm here to use it a lot. I will share a lot with you. So I do want to talk about infrastructure, which is everything around us, everything we touch, everything we do, every way we move, there's infrastructure involved in our life. And as an organization, ASCE is very interested in helping to tell a better story about the importance of smart infrastructure in our lives. Because if we're going to truly be sustainable as a world, sustainable as societies, we need to use the tools that are available to help us do the best job that we can do. I'm a great believer that the human being is critically important in all of our systems, But we as human beings also need to have the best information, the best intelligence, the best tools available. So ASCE as an organization works very hard to make sure that our members are what we call future ready. We are an organization with more than 160,000 members in 177 countries around the world. And so our impact is, of course, not just in the United States, but it is enriched by the relationships that we have, the friendships that we have, including the ones that were kind enough to bring me here to be with you today, to really share what we learn, to share what we know, to identify the challenges, and to work together to find solutions. As an organization, as many organizations have, we have our own strategic plan. But I wanted to just point out that even in our mission statement, we talk about the importance of sustainability. So ASCE has membership in all different career tracks and all different paths. And I want to talk a little bit about the collaborative way in which we work in order to develop the sustainable tools that I will then talk about. So as I mentioned, we have membership, a very vast membership. And our members come from all different areas. We have people who work for government. We have people who work in industry, people who have their own companies. We have many academicians. We also work closely with nonprofit organizations, and you heard about some excellent ones earlier today. We also, as an organization, are what's known as a standards-making organization. So we have authority to follow a process to be able to develop standards that allow us to have consistent ways of building infrastructure that we believe are both sustainable, resilient, and in the best interest of the future. So the infrastructure that will continue to perform even under extreme conditions. We have technical institutes in our organization. So whatever the specialty area is, civil engineering is a very big, very diverse field. And so whatever part of civil engineering is your home, and I hope that there are at least a few engineers in the audience. For example, transportation and development, it's shown here as TNDI, is my home institute. But I'm also a member of CI, the Construction Institute. And so we have members who join each of these different technical areas based on their own interest and their expertise. And they collectively are the ones who help us to develop our technical content, and in particular, our standards and our codes and our manuals. So I want to talk about some of the things that we are doing right now. The organization as a whole recognizes the importance of machine learning, which has been around for quite some time. You know, we now layer on top of that the term. Some people refer to AI as artificial intelligence. Some people say it's automated inference. There are many different interpretations, but in total, what we think is very important is developing tools that help us to more quickly evaluate solutions, to understand which are the better choices, and to also be able to demonstrate to others the impact of implementing better solutions. So sometimes we have to deal with the public, where we have to educate them on why we are picking a particular solution for their community. So we need these very smart tools to do that. We also are working collectively with the cyber community. Many of our systems now, our engineering systems, are tied to technology, as you might expect. So we can understand and we can manage the engineering side of it, But we are also very aware of the potential risks when our systems are so connected, when they are connected to each other, when they are connected to the internet. It just takes a few bad people to create commotion in the system or to harm the systems. So we have to work very closely, even with people who are outside of civil engineering, to be able to ensure that our systems are safe and reliable and do the job that we expect them to do. I'm going to skip. So across all of our programs, we do a lot of different ways of training and teaching. It is very important that we share the knowledge and that we collaborate. I heard some wonderful discussions in the panel with the presidents of the universities about the ways in which they are collaborating, both internally within their own organizations, but then across universities and also with outside partners. So the way that we become better is by growing those collaborations. And from all the work that we do in that area, we develop training classes, certifications, different ways of communicating the information so that you, our young members of our audience, have the opportunity to learn in a style that works best for you. We all have different ways that we learn our material, and so we want to try to present material in a way that that is best for each audience. So digital infrastructure, when I was coming up in the engineering field, everything was done by hand. Calculations were done by hand, drawing was done by hand, everything was done by hand. And we've come so very far. I've been in the field a very long time, so I would have hoped that we would come far. I've been an engineer for more than 50 years. And so I have seen tremendous change in the way that we do things. But the change in just the last couple of years and the change that I anticipate in front of us now is happening so very quickly. So it is very challenging, and it's very important that we as an organization, we as a technical community, come together to really help advance the ways in which we use the tools and the way we teach about the tools. So in roadway infrastructure, which of course transportation is my personal favorite topic within civil engineering, we have a lot of different ways in which we're deploying technology. So when you drive down the street and you see the traffic signal and you think all it does is turn from green to yellow to red, you may not know that there is a lot of technology tied in with that. The signals may be talking to each other. The signals may actually be talking to the roadway. The signals are talking to a central control system. So there is a lot of information flowing, and the intent, and hopefully it's working well here, the intent is for traffic to flow as smoothly and as safely as possible. So we have now grown from just the signals and the road talking to each other. Now we have vehicles talking to each other. So if you drive a car that is relatively new, it probably has instrumentation in it that will know that there is a car next to you and that maybe you're getting a little bit too close, and so it will beep at you and wake you up and say, be careful, don't hit the car next to you. We have a lot of different technologies surrounding everything we do in transportation. A lot of things are instrumented now, so not only are things talking to each other, but we are constantly collecting data. And those data now are used in those large language models. Some of them are used in different AI tools to help us understand and to help us hopefully develop better solutions going forward. In our water infrastructure, water being another important part of civil infrastructure, we also have a lot happening with technology. So we have things called digital twins. So when a facility is going to be built, The engineers and the architects do their drawings. Now, those are all digital drawings. And then we take that drawing and we bring it to life. We may put sensors in the building where we're collecting data about the temperature in every space. We may be collecting information about when the lights go on and off in the building so that we can manage our resources. If we're going to have sustainable infrastructure, we don't want lights on all the time if there's nobody in a space. We don't want to warm or cool a space if nobody is going to be in that space. We want to be good stewards of our resources. And so we now have the technology where the building itself can be a smart building. And we have a lot of these tools in our water systems now where they can really manage and regulate how the water is delivered. They can test and make sure the quality of the water is always acceptable, and so on and so on. So in the built environment, as I said, we have a lot of technology already, but there's always more coming. In the United States, we had a landmark period of time. About 6 years ago, after many, many years of us as civil engineers advocating for more funding for infrastructure, we were finally able to have a law passed that gave us a very big increase in the amount of money that we had to build infrastructure. But it was a very interesting thing because at the same time, we know that the value of money goes down. We have inflation, so the value of those dollars go down. We know that technology is moving very quickly. So it's been very important to take those dollars and put them into projects very quickly to build the future as quickly as possible. So the American Society of Civil Engineers, we put out a report card. Just like you get grades, hopefully you all get A's, maybe some B's sometimes. We do the same, we do an evaluation of all of our infrastructure and we give it a grade. And what we did learn was because of this investment, the quality of our infrastructure did improve. So it helps us to tell the story to hopefully have more opportunities to invest in our infrastructure. I talked about standards. We also have policies, and I'm going to go through these very, very quickly. We have policies that we put in place that support the use of technology in transportation systems. We think it's very important to stay on this track and continue to grow the use of technology. We think it's very important to have sustainable infrastructure, and I'm going to pause for just a second here. In the Q&A, I think we're going to talk about something called the Envision rating tool. It is a sustainability tool. But in the development of that tool, we realized that we also needed to have a standard, a document that tells people who build infrastructure, people who support the communities that want better infrastructure, so that you can understand what does it mean for infrastructure to be sustainable? What does it mean to be more sustainable? So within this standard, we have those definitions, we have those ideas, and the Envision tool is a way to actually measure the sustainability in many, many different facets. I do want to talk for a second about something that ASCE has invested in called Future World Vision. If you have a computer that you sometimes use for gaming, you probably also use it to do homework or studying, but if you also use it for gaming, it is a great computer for you to download the software. You can just go to the ASCE.org, the American Society of Civil Engineers website. You can search just for Future World Vision on the internet, and you'll get to our page. And you can download this amazing tool where you can actually move around inside of a future city to see what that city might look like, to interact with that city, to even leave us comments about what you think we got right and what you might do differently in that city. The development of it was based on an expert panel that got together and talked about the really big changes that are happening that are changing the world, that are influencing what the future of our world could look like. And so these were the 6 big topical areas that were identified. And we went down the path in the smart cities category as our first tool. So the tool that you'll find is called Megacity 2070, because we started this in 2020. So the idea was, if I think about tomorrow and what might change, it's probably something small. But if I think about 50 years from now, I can really open my mind and think there could be some very big changes in the next 50 years. And so we hope that what we have created here, and I have a little video I'm going to show you in just a second, but what we hope we have created really sparks some different thinking in your mind that really helps you think about how different the world could be and how technology can help us, what the risks are with technology, what the challenges and opportunities are using technology. So as part of what we did, we partnered with a movie maker, an IMAX movie maker. Many years ago, we did a movie with them. It was called Dream Big. And if you'd like to see it, it is on YouTube. So you can see it for free. As I said, Dream Big by ASCE. Dream Big told the story of young people and hopefully them opening their eyes, lifting their heads up, and realizing that you can do anything. Those of you sitting in the audience, you have a tremendous, tremendous opportunity and a bright future ahead of you. And with your hard work and with your focus on your studies, with your focus on your communities, you have so many choices, and I know that you're going to do great things. So we hope and we think we inspired many young people to think about careers where they could help develop what the future would look like, where they could help their communities, where they could bring their knowledge and their passion for a better world into their communities. And so now, 7 or 8 years later, we decided it was time for us to tell the next story in our next chapter in our story. So to follow on the heels of Dream Big, and with Future World Vision and Megacity 2070 in our minds, we partnered with the same IMAX movie maker to make this film called Cities of the Future. And I brought a short clip I'm going to show you next, so that hopefully you will get an idea of what your future world might look like. And I hope if you see something there that interests you, you'll also be thinking about, and how can I make that happen? How can I be part of changing the way the world works, changing the way people think, the way that people solve problems, and how can I help build the best possible city of the future? So let's see if I can get this to work. There we go.
Imagine a world where life on Earth is totally sustainable. Solar energy powers entire cities. Flying cars travel on highways in the sky. This isn't science fiction. The creators of Dream Big invite you on a journey into the future, where today's engineers are designing solutions that will change the way we live forever. From electric flying taxis and aerial highways greener buildings and infrastructure, to solar energy captured in space that will provide clean energy 24 hours a day. Welcome to the future. Discover a new vision of hope for the world. And see tomorrow as our greatest opportunity. Cities of the Future. A film for IMAX and giant screen theaters.
So I also want to share with you all of the actors in that movie are all civil engineers, and they're all members of ASCE. So yeah, so you could even have a movie career if you become a civil engineer. You never know. If the university is interested in bringing the movie to the university, we can help arrange so that you can see the full-length movie. It's a 45-minute movie, and I think it's very inspiring. And so I do want to thank you for allowing me to share just a little taste of what is happening. I have been so fortunate in my career that I've been able to learn what I've learned, but to apply it to many different communities. It was mentioned in my introduction that I had the great honor of serving as an elected official in my hometown, well, what is now my hometown, of Duluth, Georgia. And, you know, when you have skills, when you have knowledge, and then you get to help your community, either by being a volunteer, by just showing up and helping others, or by taking your knowledge and putting it to work in your community, you can truly help change not just your life, but the lives of thousands and thousands and thousands of people every day. When I had the chance to work, I worked as the assistant general manager of the transit agency in the Atlanta area, you know, where we had, you know, hundreds of thousands of people whose lives depended every single day on us doing our job well so that they could get where they needed to go. When I had the chance to work for the city of Atlanta, where we did everything from fixing or building a sidewalk, to building a whole bus rapid transit system, to building new lanes for vehicles to travel, you're changing people's lives every day. So as you think about what you want to do with your education, with your passion, with your volunteer time, with your work day, think about how you can see yourself changing the world every day. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. All right. So now we are moving to the Q&A session. So, well, floor is also open for the questions. So I just noticed one audience is already raised the hands. So.
I'm sorry to interrupt if it's not appropriate, but thank you for the wonderful presentation. I really appreciate it. And what I think of smart cities, the image that immediately pops out is the Neom cities of Saudi Arabia, like the Churjana and the Lion City. And the first impression of that was it looks very expensive. It takes a lot of money, and it's for luxury. It's luxury infrastructure. It's for rich people. So, is there any effort that the ASCE doing to make those smart city infrastructures publicly accessible?
That is such a great question. So I just came back from Saudi Arabia, so I had the chance to see some of the amazing infrastructure that they're building there. It is an economy that is very different from the economy where I live, so I understand the question very well. So in different communities, smart projects look very different, you know, and so in my community, a lot of the smart projects right now are these technology-based projects, as opposed to building a whole brand new city from scratch. We don't have the land to do that. We also don't have the same level of resources that they have in Saudi Arabia. So you're right that some of the projects that you see may not fit your community, but every big project is made up of many small pieces. And so sometimes it's looking in and seeing which are the pieces that would most benefit my community, that we can work to incorporate. Yes, the projects cost money, but sometimes the projects save more money over time that allow you to build those projects or use those tools. So sometimes it's being very creative. In different economies, they do it a little bit differently. In the places where I live and work, we have the ability to put a tax on ourselves to gather the funds that we need to do projects. So we may define an area, and all of the people in that area raise their hands and say, yes, I will pay a little bit more money, so that when you gather all those dollars together, you have enough money to do an important project. Not every community has that tool, but there are different ways, and part of it is the community getting together with the elected officials, with whoever the other decision makers are, and figuring out what your priorities are. Sometimes it may be, let's wait on this project because this one is so important. We want to put more dollars into this project. So it's about dialoguing and studying your own community to figure out which are the right projects and what are the right ways to do those projects. Thank you for that great question.
So then, well, I have a following up question.
Yes.
So when the budgets are limited, right, and then how should leaders decide which sustainability features are essential and which can be waited?
That is such a great question. And we'll talk in a little bit about the Envision tool, but part of it is figuring out what are the most urgent needs in the community. So if you're a community that has extreme rain events happening more and more often, so maybe you need to be focused on solutions that are based on that particular part of the environment. You may have had a project where you wanted to do some transportation project, but if the rain events are so severe that a lot of times your roads are totally flooded, there's no point in building another road if it's not going to be usable. So the community needs to get together, maybe have some technical experts work with them, maybe their local government will work with them to really think through what are the community's priorities and start with the most important things first. And as you have funding, you can work down your list.
Thank you. Well, and like a raining or flooding, that's like obvious. And then I have another question. So what is one sustainability-related issue that tends to be overlooked until it becomes a problem?
Money. Yeah. I say it jokingly, but it is true that sometimes we think building infrastructure more sustainably is more expensive, but that is not always the case. Sometimes there are new materials or new methods for building things better. So part of it is also doing the research, to understand, what projects can be done within the dollars that we have. If I had to give something up, what would I give up? That's a tough question. What would I give up? I'd give up ice cream. No, just kidding. Just kidding. What would I give up? I would probably give up Boy, that's hard. So we had a period of time where we had some very severe storms, and a lot of money was being spent lifting all different electrical things up off the ground. The power systems for our trains, things like that. And I think that that's important for some communities, but not necessarily for all communities. So I would look at the particular way that my community worked, and I would figure out, like, what is, may happen, but is the least likely thing to happen. And that's the part of sustainability that I would put on hold. And it's going to be a different answer for every community.
It seems the leader's role will be very, very important.
Yes, yes. Good leaders, but good leaders who are also willing and able to listen, because the community has a voice in this as well.
Okay. All right. So, questions from floor? Yeah, there.
Good morning. First, thank you for the presentation, really inspiring and interesting. So my question was, at the heart of ASCE are, of course, civil engineers. But among the crowd here, probably, there will be students from different regions like AI engineering, renewable energy development, geologists, I don't know. Are they also invited into ASCE, and how does ASCE interact with like other departments? Because I think both departments have to work together to fulfill some goals.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for that great question. Somebody's going to think that I told you to ask me that question so I could tell the story. So up until about a year ago, ASCE was really very, very focused just on civil engineers. We had many conversations because the world has changed, the way we do projects have changed, and now we refer to it as the civil engineering team. So we invite everybody who is interested or who is a partner, with civil engineering. We have a geotechnical institute, so we already have geologists in our midst, for example. But we think it's really important because projects are so complex now and so interdisciplinary that we need everybody who has some aspect of knowledge to come together to be part of the discussion and part of the solution. We do a lot of that through our technical institutes, where different people can, not everybody joins an institute. You can join, if you're a member of ASCE, you join an institute for free. So we encourage everybody to find that technical home. But everybody is welcome to be part of the ASCE family. The membership is very simple, to apply to become a member. We changed the member grades to recognize that we want the whole civil engineering team to be part of the family. So I don't have membership applications in my pocket. I should have brought some. But you can find all the information you need on our website, asce.org. You can reach out to me. Happy to help. If we're not already connected, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's the best place for us to communicate. I get too many emails. I will never see most of them because I get too many. But I always see my messages and answer my messages on LinkedIn. So thank you and I hope that I'll see your name on the membership roll soon.
All right, thank you. So then in the meantime, I can ask another question. So I just noticed that past and current president of KSCE is also attending in this session. So as the ASCE president, what is one way professional organization can help turn sustainability goal in real?
Oh, what a great question. So can I talk about Envision now? Is that okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the American Society of Civil Engineers, along with two other organizations, the American Council of Engineering Companies and the American Public Works Association, got together and partnered with the Zofnass School for Sustainability at Harvard University. And together we developed this tool called Envision. If you're interested in looking at it, the website is just called Sustainable Infrastructure. So if you just Google Sustainable Infrastructure, you'll get right to the correct website. The Envision tool is, to me, is so powerful because it really helps guide the way you think about sustainability and gives you many, many tools to think about sustainability. So how many of you are familiar with LEED, the LEED certification for buildings? LEED is another type of, I'll call it more of an environmental tool for vertical structures. But it is a tool that was built where most of the time the questions are answered yes or no. You know, did you buy your carpet within 300 miles of the building that you're building? Yes or no? Is there a bus stop in front of your building? Yes or no? Well, that's helpful, but to me, it's not, it really doesn't help me learn how to build more sustainable infrastructure. And that's where I think this Envision tool really is very powerful, because for every category, for every credit within the system, it tells you how to make incremental improvements, how to make it just a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. Because as you pointed out before, we may not have money to, build the most expensive, most comprehensive, most sustainable solution. But if I can take what I would typically build and make it a little bit better and a little bit better, then I've at least started the process down that road of sustainability. So and it's not just about civil engineering. In the early days, when engineers thought about sustainability, it was change your light bulbs so that you have all LED light bulbs to save electricity, and fix your pipes so that you weren't wasting water. And that was about as far as we went. Well, in the Envision rating system, there are about 60 different aspects of projects where you can actually rate rate the project, rate the effort to measure how you are doing on that sustainability scale. A lot of it aligns with the SDGs. There are some things related to community building. There are things related to environment. There are things related to I'll call it the hard engineering, the use of the land. There's so many different categories. So even if you can't satisfy every single one, and no project will ever satisfy every single one, it gives you so many different ways to make your project better, to be more creative in thinking about what makes a project more sustainable. Because for some people, the hardest part is just defining what makes a project more sustainable. What would I change to make it better? And so I think this tool is very powerful in that it really describes for you what that next step could look like.
All right. Thank you so much for your wonderful experiences and your envisions and sharing your knowledge with us. Yeah. Well, I think this concludes our session. Thank you all for your participation. Please join me giving another round of applause to President Boma.